What's up, everybody? I got Adam with roofstrategist.com in the house today. We're going to talk about everything from sales to marketing and how you can scale and grow your business, because this guy understands the roofing game. He understands the formulas. He understands what it's going to take day in, day out to grow your roofing business. Stay tuned for this one. So like I was saying, so what we saw was that you got these you got these contractors and they're not getting paid for the work. They got people that are running on a 120-day cycle. And when you're doing that, as soon as you get that 500,000 in the door, then there's another 500,000 after that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And for some reason, sales reps too often are dragging their feet on collections. I remember we had that issue years ago. I'm like, man, your commission is ready to get paid. All you gotta do is go get the money, and they get busy. So it's a great solution you guys have there, and it's going to help a lot of people out. Because I know I'm preaching to the choir. Number one reason contractors don't last: cash flow.
And then from a sales perspective, the reason that a lot of these guys don't last more than a couple of months, man, is they may sell a few jobs, but they ain't getting paid for it. Because they don't have the checks ain't come in for the jobs that they've gotten. They've signed some deals, but they don't have the checks coming in. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I talked to a guy Friday, younger company, and he's killing it. 500 to 700,000 a month. And he's like brand new. And he reached out to me, we were talking, and then he's later in conversation goes, well, I haven't paid myself a dime yet. And I was like, whoa, you gotta fix that right away. I should set you guys up with an introduction, because that would be a instant fix for him.
Yeah. Lesson number one, man, you know this as well as I do. Pay yourself first. You gotta take care of you.
Profit first, man. Have you Mike Kalowitz?
So listen, everybody, we were kind of jumping in right there. I've got Adam with me today in the Roofer's Den. You won't find somebody who understands sales in the roofing game more than this gentleman does right here. What I really want to do, Adam, is I want to bring some value to people in the sales side of the business. But before I do that, I'd like just a little bit of background on you. You've got an amazing footprint out there in social media, companies from across the country who want to work with you. Can you give us an idea of who you are, kind of how you came into the industry, buddy?
Yeah, sure thing. Well, thanks for having me, Patrick. I really appreciate being here and love what you guys are doing, helping contractors solve a very critical problem in the lifeblood of their business with cash flow. So my background, I landed in this industry just like everybody else did on accident. And I was a starving massage therapist living below the poverty line, needed to make some money, and found out through my stepfather that you could do 6 figures in door-to-door roofing sales. And I thought it was a hoax. I said, no way. So I jumped online, found some companies. Coincidentally, there was a hailstorm like 5 miles from my house. So I jumped in the industry, started knocking doors, got my teeth absolutely destroyed and kicked in. I did not have thick skin. I did not have confidence. I did not have sales experience. I learned all the hard lessons personally very quickly, and realized at this point I was trying to juggle this part-time piece, massage therapy that was the quote unquote security of poverty to pay the bills with knowing what the potential was. So I made the leap. I quit. I had $2,000 in my name, and it was sink or swim. I had $2,000 in my name. My rent and utilities was like $1,100. So I didn't have a lot, plus fueling up the truck. My first sale was a commercial property off a cold call, and then very quickly worked my way up to COO of a company. And at the peak, we had 30 salespeople, or I had 30 salespeople. We averaged between 12 and 20. Helped streamline operations to get our company running out of a corporate office with multiple states, multiple locations, and I was in charge of growing all the sales, handling the marketing, all that stuff. And when I took a little break from the industry, I got in on the consulting side, focusing on what I love, what I'm passionate about, and that's sales, marketing, and leadership. So that's what brought me here, and I've had an opportunity to work with roofing companies all over the place, ranging from $3 million a year to $35 million a year, and running the YouTube channel, podcast, and that's my fire, man. Is just helping people use this industry as a catalyst for growth.
So first question for you is everything across the board. It's at theroofstrategist.com or at roofstrategist.com, correct?
Yep, at Roof Strategist. And then the website, you'll have to do www. We're having an issue with the Ford. But yeah, www.roofstrategist.com. And then on YouTube, The Roof Strategist, youtube.com/The Roof Strategist. Same with Instagram and Facebook. So you'll see me.
So tell me this, Adam, who's that clientele that's going out to see you? Is it sales rep? Is it business owners, operations, production, all the across the board? Who needs to go out there and really consume the content from you?
Yeah, great question. So I have material available both free and paid programs for individual sales reps. So if you're brand new in the industry, if you're a seasoned pro looking for new skills to level up, I have stuff for you. And if you have a growing team, I got stuff for you. So anything that's sales marketing related, I don't touch production. I don't do basic industry training. My job is to help you develop a personal sales strategy to smash your income goal. That is my mission. Personal sales strategies to smash your income goal for individual sales reps and their teams.
I love that, man. So I want to jump into my first question here for you, because I got a debate going on in my head, and I've talked to some guys who are some door-to-door guys. I talked to some guys, digital marketing guys.
Sure.
You see a difference out there when anytime you jump onto like an Instagram or a Facebook group, I feel like these two sides of the sales industry. Okay. I want to know, where does the roof strategist fall as far as the best way to garner new business? Are we moving towards a digital way where you need to do the ads? Or is door knocking the tried and true and still the way to do it? Where do you fall in this?
That's a great question. So fundamentally, yes to all. There's no reason not to. Now, what I teach and everything that I do with my clients, my services, my free content, my free material is all designed to be low tech. There's zero barrier to entry. If you've got a heart, you got spirit, you got drive, you can use it all. And that's how I changed my life. I 5x to 8x, I forget, my income in the first 8 months. I didn't even know what to do with the money I was earning. It was unreal. And that's what I want to put in people's hands, because you've got all these different walks of life. You've got people who are taking a leap of faith and leaving what they're doing to jump into the sales industry. And I always say that sales is personal development in disguise. You are forced to become a new version of you, a better version of you, a smarter version of you, a faster thinking version of you, a better communicating version of you. So I am a big fan and teacher of rudimentary, basic stuff that anyone can use, boots to the ground, knuckles on doors, go make sales. Now, that's applicable from an individual sales rep to an owner. But of course, if you have the budget, layering on new channels to acquire business, without a doubt. But what I do believe is that anyone in this industry, if your budget was slashed, if someone broke into your bank account and cleared it out, if you had to start all over, first thing you should be doing, and again, is my opinion, is getting out in front of people. And I know that this industry is going to evolve and change, but that human element is going to be there for a good long while.
There's two things that I think about when I hear you say that. And, when you're in this industry, everybody gets into it everybody falls into it by accident, like you said, and then they all want to make money.
Yep.
If you're a sales rep out there, one of the things I try to tell guys in my company is figure out what the hell you're going to use the money for, though. I know that sounds like such a general thing, but people talk because, some people make, well into the six figures and they go, what am I doing this for? What am I making this money for? Is it because you want to go pop bottles? Is it because, you want to go a better life for your family? I think if you're getting into this industry and you're just starting out, figure out what the heck you want to use the money for. What is your goal here? Because in my opinion, you are motivated by helping people, strategizing for them, helping them grow their business. But sales reps out there, you got to have something, man, that pushes you every day. And if you're just out there to, quote, make money, then I'm telling you, you're going to get unmotivated very quick, because
go get a job elsewhere.
Right. It's not. It's going to be, what are you going to do with that money that's going to get you up and motivate you every day? And I think that's a problem that some people skip over when they're just getting involved with the game.
Yep, I totally agree. And it's why one of my programs, Complete Sales Strategy, I have it available for individual sales reps. And it's part of my sales team plan for owners. Whether they're using my stuff or not, it is absolutely important to always start with an income goal. I read Brian Tracy's book called Goals, How to Get Everything You Want Faster Than You Ever Dreamed, or that you ever imagined possible. I always forget the subtitle. At any rate, it was the first book I ever went through literally every single exercise. I hung them out in my dingy, broke apartment where my mattress was on the ground because I didn't have money for furniture. And I had everything listed, and it was the drive, because this industry is an emotional roller coaster, and it's like a mental health crisis on a regular basis of highs and lows. So I always recommend start with the income goal. I generate a personal sales plan so I can take those numbers and then show a sales rep, these are the sales activities you need to produce to get to that goal. And to me, I don't focus on sales. I focus on sales appointments, because that keeps people producing. If you focus just on the sale, you'll watch sales reps will get lazy, especially if they have leads coming in and they're just focused on the sales. But if you just go one layer back and you say, I want to focus on generating those appointments, that to me is what I've found keeps the fire going. And it's also a really powerful thing for all the sales managers and owners and any leaders, because when when you sit down as part of your onboarding with a rep or as a team and you say, hey, your income goal is to hit 90,000 this year. You're on track to only do about 60. How can I help you improve? It's a very different discussion than, hey, your sales suck and you're going to need to pick it up or you're fired because we need to make more money off of you, right? So it's ruling with an iron fist versus lifting people up. And I found that for me, when I lifted my team up, I increased loyalty, retention, production, and they started to come to me as support. And the leadership side is what really fires me up. So I couldn't agree more, Patrick. You got to have a why, because I worked my way into a hospital before I was 30 thinking I was having a heart attack. I had an infection around my heart that was stress related, viral related. And I was 2.5 hours from home. I could barely breathe. My chest hurt. I'm in the ER overnight. They're like, you got to take some stress off. But man, I got too focused on money. I didn't have the balance of what I was doing it for. 30 pounds heavier and it's just not a good spot. You got to get your head on your shoulders and know what you're chasing.
I always say the advice I give to my sales reps is start with the most simple thing of the day as a goal if you want to reach the most complicated. So let's just say the most complicated is I want to buy a big fancy boat. I don't know. That's what your big thing is. You want to be a yacht. Okay, well, if I tell you you're going to go buy a yacht, that's going to completely overwhelm you. You're thinking, I got to go buy a $500,000 yacht. Where am I going to get that money from? And then it just all kind of spirals downhill from there. But if I go to you as a leader, and this is where I think a lot of roofing contractors could do better at from a leadership standpoint, and you start with the most simple thing, which is, listen, your closing ratio for every 50 doors you knock, you're closing one of them. It means if you close 50 more doors a day, you close 5 more deals. You make $5,000 more a week. You make $20,000, whatever. Now all of a sudden, the most simple thing, which was just knocking the door, as you say, getting the appointment itself, not focused on, am I closing that, but looking at the most simple and then building your way up to the most complicated will allow you to reach those goals much easier, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree. It's knocking down a domino. It was Gary Keller in his book, The One Thing. That's the whole philosophy. You got to put up in the big goal, knock it down into a year, month, week, day. What can I do right now in this moment? And it's not making a sale. It's getting your knuckles on the next door. It's doing the follow-up. It's working the system. It's, whatever that one action is. So I love it. Well said, Patrick. I couldn't agree more.
And, along those same lines, one of the mistakes I see, I'm only seeing it from a few roofing contractors out there, and I'd like to know what your opinion is on it. You see contractors jumping into the game, Adam, like doing more YouTube or more Instagram or LinkedIn. You see contractors as a company doing it. I don't understand why reps, are on a run 20 or so a year. They're earning a good living and they want to kick it up to the next level. Why aren't they taking Adam? And maybe you tell me this is a shitty idea, but take $20,000 of that, invest it into something where you're creating some good videography, throw some edits in there and start marketing yourself as a rep, not waiting on your company to generate your own business. Am I a moron, or does that make some kind of sense within a program that you got?
It's a very good question. There's a few folks. I actually had a couple guys on the channel that I interviewed. One is a gentleman named Andrew Itmeyer. He's dominating social as an individual rep. He's got a photographer following around. He knows all the hashtags and all that. And I think it's really powerful to do. The risk that I caution sales reps on is, you and I think both know there's a million different agencies, ad agencies, social media management companies who'll happily take your money. And this is a tough industry to make social work. And I think it can work, but it is a big risk. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can quickly flush 20 grand down the drain like that. So I think it's an awesome thing. I do personally believe, that people should be using their social platforms for that reason. People are doing it, they're successful, and it doesn't take a tremendous amount of money to do it. But you just got to be mindful of what you're spending money on before you start hemorrhaging cash as a rep. Because believe me, I've made some mistakes online and they ain't cheap.
No, they aren't cheap. And you're absolutely right. I've worked with some marketing guys and, they will happily take your money, like you said. And, you've got to make sure that what you're doing is quantifiable and it's measurable. And I think that's a lot of where people make the mistake from a sales rep side, is that they get so, like you said, down on themselves because they're not hitting the numbers, or, they can get in kind of a mind funk if you want to look at it that way. But I want to dive into, if there's a sales rep out there in their first week, you deal with these companies all the time. Yeah. Somebody just getting started, maybe they're new to the industry like you were at one time. What piece of advice would you have for that guy who's just getting started? He tunes into this. We got a 2-minute clip. We got 30 seconds to tell this guy, man, you're about to knock doors with a truck and a ladder. You think you're gonna own the world? What does Adam got to say to him?
That's a good question. There's a few answers. Number one, know what you're getting into and be ready for anything, because there's a lot of easier ways to make money. You won't make the kind of money in this industry, but you have to embrace the challenge. And I say step number one, embrace the journey. Who you are today is nowhere near who you will be even in 4 weeks from now, from 4 months from now, and in 4 years from now. You will evolve personally. You'll be faced with challenges to overcome in ways you never have. And you're going to have experiences that majority of people would avoid at like the plague at all costs. Number two, do not let your lack of industry knowledge or experience destroy your confidence. You will learn as you earn. Study up in your spare time. Turn windshield time into a mobile classroom. You should never be listening to music, in my opinion. Every single minute should be investing in yourself. Audiobooks, stream podcasts, find people that keep you motivated, inspired, and continually learning your craft, because you are always one strategy away from your next big breakthrough. And usually for a new rep, number one is, how do I start conversations at the door? Number two, how do I get on more roofs? Number three, how do I get invited to the kitchen table? Number four, how do I close more deals? Number five, how do I manage my time? Because I just got so good at the other four that I can't keep up. And that is the sequence of events that I promise you, as you succeed, will happen. And your job is to focus on that strategy in front of you. What's the number one obstacle keeping me from doing this? If it's starting a conversation, get everything you need. Try it all. Jump online. Try my methods. Try these methods, that method. Whatever is going to work. What works for you is what works. And then create the next problem and then solve it. So that's my best advice.
I agree with you more. Process right there. But the number one thing, which kind of go back to what we said a few minutes ago, is you first got to knock the doors.
Yeah.
And knocking the doors, that gives you the opportunity to get on the roof, which gives you the opportunity to sit at the table, which, you know, but you first got to knock on the doors and make something happen. Hustler, Sean Bryant, and he made a very good point. And what he said was, don't be afraid to say, I don't know. You know, in the beginning, I think you want to seem like you know everything. You know what I mean, brother? Like, hey, and if I don't, I can't seem like I'm not sure. That's the time to say, I don't know, because you can really dig yourself in a hole where you're looking over your shoulder. And that's not a place you want to be in 3 weeks after you sell your first deal, when it's moving to production and you've made promises that, you know, you can't keep.
It's okay to say, you know what? That's a great question. Let me get an answer for you, and buy some time. No one expects you to be a leading expert in anything. And I think being honest and humble is going to earn you trust. I did that a lot when I was new and I didn't know what fanfold was on a siding project. And I was like, let me go find out. Now I look back, I'm like, man, I look like an idiot, but guess what? I still won the business, got rave reviews. Customers love me. Why not? Who cares? I said I didn't know. It was the truth. I learned on the job, you know? So, you know, looking back now, I have a funny story on that we can serve for another time, on the embarrassment of my first job, where,
you know, I'm here now, man.
What was that?
Let's
You
do
want to
it.
hear it now? I haven't shared this one publicly. So
all right.
My first job that I sold was a commercial property. It was a small commercial strip center, and I was leaving the gym. I was literally in my gym clothes. So I see a sign. I'm like, I hate knocking doors. So I call up and I say, hey, are you the owner of the building? And he said, I am. It's a small privately owned strip center that owned the gym. I said, hey, your roof looks like it's in pretty rough shape, and I might be able to get you a new roof if I can find enough damage up there for the insurance to cover it. And I just went right in. You know, by the way, never do this for residential. Will not work. Different mindset. Okay. He says, you know what? Come take a look. Next day, I'm out there, signed the deal. Adjuster fell through the roof, by the way. They put they resealed an old vent with something. So adjuster falls through the roof. Crew's out there on install day. And the crew, Latin guys, come up, say, Adam, we need plasticops. They didn't deliver plasticops. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, plasticops? What are plasticops? I didn't put the order together. My manager did. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll just figure this out. So I go over to ABC Supply and I'm at the counter and they say, hey, you know, I need plasticops for this job number. And they say, plasticops? He goes, oh, you mean plastic caps? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. And he goes, well, how many? And I was like, I don't know, like 40. So they're all laughing at me. They fill out the order. I pull my pickup around. This was the cardboard boxes of plastic caps, and they load them up. And then I showed up. The crew's cracking up at me like, dude, you got 40 boxes of plastic caps. And then you know how it goes. It rains and there's nails everywhere. So my point is, I was a moron. I knew nothing. It didn't prohibit me from doing it. Embrace the challenge, because we all have embarrassing stories, and all you can do is laugh about it and grow.
I'll tell you the funniest story. I did timeshare before I did roofing, and I sucked at it at first. I was like one of the worst for Marriott probably ever since its creation, but they liked me, so they kept me around. And like if you do timeshare, man, like in Orlando where I am, like if you take 10 tours out to sell them, their whatever it is, their week of timeshare or points, whatever it might be, and you sell one of them, I went not 10, not 20, not by number 43, my manager pulls me over to the side. He's like, Patrick, I love having you around, man. You could die. We all love you around here. You've been part of the company for a long time, but if you don't sell this roof, if you don't sell this, this next person right here, you're screwed, man. Like, I'm sorry, I got to fire you. It's a Tuesday afternoon. He said, but I'll give you another way that you can keep them around. And I was like, all right, well, sure. And he goes, I would probably take it this way. He goes, you have to offend them so bad that they ask for a manager to come over and they're pissed off enough that they want you fired. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about, man? And he goes, listen, you're 0 for 43. So he's like, you might want to take option number 2 and just piss them off. He's like, but I'm going to watch and you got to take everybody through the tour. I'm like, how do I piss them off? He goes, I don't know, offend them, talk bad to them, talk down to them, whatever you freaking got to do. So I take these people through the tour from Georgia and basically just treat them like a bunch of hicks. I mean, like any stereotype you can give, I went ahead and I went with it. Told them they couldn't afford it. Told them you guys this isn't the right package for you. This is too night, whatever it might be. At the end, I go ahead and my manager comes over and they of course asked me to be fired. They want to write a letter to Mr. Marriott, all this different stuff about, how offensive I was. My manager comes back in. He goes, I thought you were going to take option number 2. He goes, they're going to buy $30,000 worth. And I was like, you're effing kidding me. And he's like, no, I'm not kidding you, man. And he's like, here's a lesson for you. He goes, all you did was you didn't think one bit about the process that you had in front of you. He said, you were just worried about having fun and talking shit to these people. He's like, in the course of talking shit to them and showing them everything, you made the product something that they actually wanted. He's like, now I did that with you because you're usually so polite to everybody that we needed to go over the top for you. I want to do that with a normal person. Wow. He's like, but so many times I take that to roofing that you sit in front of the door and you're so worried about what your pitch is, what your next word is, instead of just maybe building a relationship with the person in front of you, asking them genuinely how they're doing and then caring about their response. There's my introduction to sales.
That's good. That is good. And it's a powerful lesson. Unfortunately, someone had to get offended in the process, but it's a powerful lesson. And there's a lot of psychology I'm sure we could dive into on that part when you challenge someone's ego, which is something I do in interviews with sales reps to gauge their strength of character, their survivability in the industry. But yeah, we all have war stories and we have to learn the skills. And the ultimate thing is also when you don't have it's hard to teach the skill when you don't have much to lose. You will close more deals. People smell the stench of desperation, the gas tank of your truck that needs to get full and you're worried about putting money in it. They'll sense that. And it's amazing that confidence that comes when you can just be there to solve a problem, first start a conversation, and then figure out, can I help this person? And if you can, navigate how you can help. And I always think of it as the difference. I teach an educational sales process. Instead of the pushy way of pushing people into it, I'm laying the breadcrumbs and I'm gonna walk them right into what I view as the real best solution for them. I just happen to provide it, but it's all on their terms. Lower cancellation rate, higher customer satisfaction, enjoying the process, and no one thinks you're being salesy or sleazy. But that's my approach.
So can you teach sales, Adam, or is it a God-given thing? I mean, where do you fall within that line right there? If someone comes to you, man, and they got no skills, can you build them, or do you got to have some foundation to work off of?
It's a good question. It's kind of a split difference. There's 5 profile traits I look for in a sales rep. If they have all 5, they can learn the skills. If they don't, they will not make it, period. So the answer is yes. And that's the way I teach. I found scripts, this is my opinion. Some might disagree, and that's okay. I don't believe in scripts. Some of my material, I have scripts for learning purposes only. But I watch all these companies produce manual after manual with word for word scripts, and then they turn into pages. And I'm like, do you really think that you can have someone read this and then go rehearse it? And then they're going to get a question or face something outside the black and white lines on the script. They are going to be caught on their heels. They're going to look like a deer in the headlights. So everything I teach are formulas. the SLAP canvassing formula, the car park closing formula. These are talk tracks that allow us, like a formula, to have any different input for any scenario, customized on the fly. And once they learn it, it is amazing the breakthroughs that happen, because reps will tell me, Adam, I stopped thinking about what I'm going to say at the door. I just show up and it just happens, and they go through it. And that's why when you asked, is sales natural born? The talent to learn it is, you need that. But yes, anyone can learn these processes when they're given the right format. And it's the same thing with, you could teach anyone to shoot a free throw, but there's only one Michael Jordan, right?
Yep.
So that's, I guess, the difference is some people are going to be really excellent. They have the natural born talent. So long as they're able-bodied, they're going to be able to shoot that hoop. And I want to give them a simple formula to use to sink more hoops, because for someone, sinking 8 out of 10 is going to be great. Next person, 6 out of 10 is great. Either way, they're ahead and winning.
So here's my question for you about this formula, because you have a unique way of looking at this, not better, but different than some other sales strategists out there. Mm-hmm. You put things like this car park thing, you put things into a formula, right? Yeah. Do you find that works better for some sales reps who might be more analytical, or is this something that would be better for just sales reps across the board? I'm just kind of wondering, because it's more you're kind of putting almost a math equation type thing to it, but in a different way.
No, it's a very good question. I haven't found any difference either way. To me, it's easy to integrate. And what I find is that when people can recall information, being good at sales is step one, right? Being good at teaching sales is a different thing. And then understanding how people learn and can integrate information is an entirely different skill set. So the way that I approach teaching people and helping people have breakthroughs is finding ways that I've done things naturally, that I've witnessed and trained sales teams, both in the roofing industry and outside, and breaking them down into ingredients. And when I can give people those ingredients, they can quickly adjust and start using them in the field, very simply. So I don't see any difference between the right brain or left brain thinkers or analytical people. The people that appreciate the approach and the style, which I'm not for anyone. If someone's into the hard sales or the more traditional 1980s stuff, they're not going to like my stuff, and that's okay. But for what I've found is the growing industry is attracting people who want to use this industry to change their lives. Most of them don't have sales experience, and I got an email yesterday, Adam, I came from car sales and I'm breaking my old sales habits after I learned stuff from you, and I'm using the SLAP formula, and I can take a guy who's spraying for mosquitoes and turn him into a rock star salesperson because I'm teaching him an authentic way to have conversations that just so happen to leverage powerful sales psychology that will get to the outcome they need. So it becomes a very natural way, because the number one complaint that I get from people, Adam, I tried X, Y, and Z. It doesn't fit with me. I don't feel comfortable doing it, or it doesn't fit our company style. And I have if that works for your company, don't change it if it ain't broken. But if that's what you're hearing, you have to arm your team with something that they can go out in the field and confidently stand there, be themselves, so they have the confidence to show up. You retain the top talent and can produce results. And that is the elements that I focus on, is how to help any single person use this industry, while also supporting the companies to invest in their team and knowing why people fail. And number one is door to door. They hate knocking doors. Their confidence goes down and they don't have results. So if we can fix both of those with a formula, boom, why wouldn't you try? And I've had great success with it. And people that aren't even my customers, they watch video, listen to the podcast. Man, my inbox blows up with success stories of the canned pitch I learned didn't work. I switched the SLAP formula. I went 3 for 4 or 3 for 3. So that's that. I hope that answers your question. And I can dive into what it is too. We don't have to keep this all loosey goose.
No, but it does answer my question. What it makes me think about, though, man, is I continue to believe that the one industry that translates the best into roofing is car sales. Now, this is my theory. Now, here's my reason why, because I've sold cars. And I know that if you're at a high volume dealership, you're always on the run. You're not just sitting there in your suit. You're going to get the car. You're getting the car cleaned. You're out there in the hot sun in the lot. You're walking the cars with the customers. You know what I mean? You're working. You're not afraid to work for that money. But if you want to talk about the money you can make with cars versus roofs, it's not even a comparison. All right, because I've seen them both. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I always thought that's a good translation from one industry to the next, because I think you're right, man. There are people jumping ship into the roofing game, and they need help like what you're offering. And so here's one of the things that I see with roofing contractors that prevents them from growing is their CRM. You jump in there, you work with contractors across the country.
Sure.
You've got to see a need right there. And I think me and you both agree that AccuLinks, in my opinion, offers the most functionality that I can see that's out there right now.
Yeah, I mean, AccuLinks is a fantastic solution. Absolutely fantastic solution. And any CRM needs to be used, period. You will not scale a company without a CRM. And for what you want to accomplish with the CRM, the best one is the one people use, the best one that solves your problems. You could have the one with all the bells and whistles, but if your team ain't using it, it's garbage. I just ran a webinar today with AccuLinks. I believe in what they're doing. They're continually adding improvements. I'm not affiliated. I don't get any kickbacks with them. I'm always very clear on that with people. I don't want people to feel like I'm pushing them into something, but I do. I think their solution is absolutely fantastic and can help automate a lot of sales activities as well as the customer experience, as well as giving you as an owner control, as well as giving you freedom. Because I'll tell you, there's nothing worse than getting calls and being caught on your heels, which I used to do before we had CRMs. Getting a call 3 hours from the office, because we had multiple offices and there's some disaster. And I'm like, I have no idea who you are, no idea who you're working with, no idea what crew's going on, when your job's scheduled. I got to go figure this out, and then call in the office or getting in there the job file. But having everything at your fingertips is absolutely critical, especially for snapshot on cash flow, for sales reps to understand what their commissions are going to look like. I mean, you'd be absolutely silly not to be using one.
I'll tell you the example I use with people. We have clients or potential clients that call us all the time at My Claims Care, and they want us to come to work for them. And one of the first questions we ask is, what CRM are you using? Are you using a program like AccuLinks? And I can't tell you the number of individuals who are struggling to scale their business that are using something like QuickBooks and wondering, why am I not scaling? Why am I not growing? Why am I having trouble tracking my money or tracking my production? And I tell them, I say, a lot of them, I say, would you go to a steakhouse, a really great steakhouse in your area, and order chicken? No, because you want a good steak is the reason you go there. You're a roofing company. So why don't you have a CRM that has to do with roofing? You're trying to just have this generalized thing that you think is going to fit, and that's going to make you a multi-million-dollar company because you put on a great roof. It takes more than that. You got to have a good steak at the steakhouse, which in my opinion would be AccuLinks, because that's specialized to the industry that we're in. And there's a reason for that. They keep on innovating because they see the things that the industry needs, innovate, make it better, adjust so that contractors can continue to grow.
Yeah,
and so
I agree.
I kind of flip the turn right here, man. I want to talk a little bit more about door-to-door sales. Okay. Some of the psychology behind it here, because this is my opinion. I've seen some of your stuff. I want to talk about, we never really talk about the dining room table. All right. Everyone always talks about the door. But I want to dive into you a little bit about the dining room table, because too many people are worried about getting to that point, and then they get there and it all falls apart.
Yeah.
All right? They've done that because they've done everything right. We said they started at the simple. They got up there on the roof and saw that there's damage. Now they're sitting down to talk about policy. Maybe they're going to open up the claim or sit there, open up form with the State Farm calling in the claim number.
Yep.
Where do you see, Adam, that happens at that dining room table that people need to be aware of? Is there a common mistake or something people do really well that you would advise them of?
Oh man, that's a great question. We could spend hours on this.
Okay,
so
great.
Formulas, car park. Okay. When I say it's my closing formula, it's all about, it is a closing formula, but it actually starts the minute that you're invited. Well, it starts the minute you say hi to the customer, whether it's an inbound lead or whether you get off the roof, right? And you're starting to connect. It's what do you say and do in a sales appointment? And car park covers everything. And I'll tell you what it is. C stands for connect. And I'll give you a quick overview and then we'll do a deep dive. So connect, assess, report, present, ask, referrals, and kickstart. Okay. So we're going to connect with the customer. We're going to assess where they're at so we can then later, during the present part, customize the presentation. Because I'll tell you, there's not a one size fits all presentation. This boggles my mind that people think that there's one way to present. There is ingredients. That's why I teach formulas. When you plug in different numbers in a formula, what is the outcome? The same thing, because that's what a formula is. So if I'm working storm damage claims, there are 4 stages of the claims process that I teach. No claim, partial payment from the insurance company, a denial from the insurance, or paid in full. Everyone teaches like a basic pitch. And sorry, everyone is way too blanket of a statement. Many people teach you need to offer an inspection and do this and teach them how to file the claim. And many companies are doing this for their reps. But when you realize that there's 4 stages of the claims process where that customer can be, there's also 2 mindsets for each. So no claim is this. What are you talking about? What damage? Or they're saying, oh, please tell me, how bad is it, right? Or if it's partial payment, hey, the insurance came out. They just said we had a few shingles, need to get repaired. We're good. We're okay. Or they're like, I'm furious with my insurance company. My neighbor's got a new roof. Same for denial. And then check in hand is usually, now I'm going to try to play the cards close. Give me an estimate because I want to pocket some cash. So we understand that there's 7 different mindsets for that customer. So mistake number 1 is trying a canned pitch. Okay. You need to be able to assess where the customer's at through conversation, understanding where they are. That way, when we present later, we can go through our presentation in the formula, all 8. I teach a presentation with 8 ingredients, and they can plug in the right pitch to where that customer's at in the process. So if they're in a partial payment or a denial phase, we know what to present, what information that is relevant to that customer. So mistake number 1 is not customizing your presentation and understanding those mindsets. Mistake number 2 is jumping the gun. I look like I'm 12 years old. It has worked in my favor. It has worked against me, which means when I go to sales appointments as a trainer, I can be in a plain t-shirt. I am the silent observer. This is a very unique opportunity to be able to witness a sales rep and a homeowner and see the body language, the cues. He or she says this. This is how they respond. So I can pick up in a way like a live recording of a sales presentation that you'll never be able to get to do and piece together where those mistakes are. And so many sales reps, especially new ones, do not build rapport. The first 3 phases, connect, assess, and report, must build the foundation of likability and friendship and trust before you present. These new reps will get off the roof and they're like, all right, we're standing in the driveway. They're going to jump right into the photos and then jump right to the contingency agreement. And I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes. So
Adam, can I stop you right there? Because I got something I've always thought about right here.
Sure.
After that first 3 right there, after our carport with the connect, assess, report, if you're new in the game, tell me what your thoughts are on this. Because when I was in the game, this is what I did. I didn't know what to do. I found myself, my heart beating fast. I was like, okay, I'm going to go in. We're going to be looking at their policy now. I got to figure out what the deductible is. I got to make sure they commit to that, get my contingency agreement signed. I got to make sure I get the claim number. What questions? Date of loss and, damage on the roof, advise them of that. There's a lot of things running through your head, right? I would take the time to go, okay, I'm going to take a minute. Let me go back to the truck and take a look at the pictures right here. I'll be able to come back and give you some good advice on what we can do moving forward. Remove myself so that I could take a moment, and this doesn't work for everybody, but because I was so wanted to jump the gun, I wanted to remove myself so I could come back as more of an expert. And I would spend that time. I would call one of the more experienced individuals or see if someone was available and say, this is what I'm looking at. Can you help me through this deal? Because I'm about to go back on the table. I'm not sure that's for everybody, but that's kind of how I did it.
Yeah, it's a good question. And here's the thing. If something's working, don't fix it. Is it what I would teach? It's not what I would teach. And the reason for that is when they go through and you learn a formula, a presentation process, I provide cheat sheets. So it's a little printout you can bring in to the appointment. And I've worded it in a way that a homeowner, if they see it, I wouldn't go showing it to them, but if they see it, it's not going to be like, what's this sleazy salesy thing? It's just talking points and cues. And after you go through it a few times, you can check off, all right, I'm going to walk in, I'm going to connect with them. First thing, compliment their home, something about them. If they have a crazy house, compliment the dog, who they are as a person, the football flag flying out front, the garden. You'll know what's important to someone based on, if they have a dilapidated house but a brand new Mustang in front, like the car is a valuable thing. So compliment the car. Accepting gifts. Hey, would you like a glass of water? I don't care if you're thirsty. You say yes to that. I don't know why people think it's not. You say no, right? And then to relate. Okay. So that's the first part. Then assessing where they're at. Simply, hey, where are you at in the process? It's a pretty easy question for retail. What has you thinking about replacing the roof? There's indicators on the retail side, which we can skip for today, but we all know why people replace the roof on a retail setting and then the storm setting. And then getting up on the roof, we want to find a bigger reason to take action right now. Do not fabricate this, by the way, but if you see there's no drip edge, for example, valleys are installed properly, there's no chimney crickets, pipe boots are starting to fail, you're giving that homeowner another reason, okay? Then when we get off the roof, before you show those photos, you got to use the sales tool known as framing. I'm sure you're familiar with framing, but I'm going to just explain it for everyone who's listening. Framing is giving people the right lens. So if I take my glasses off, my eyes aren't horrible, but I see things different. I want to give my customers the lens to see the photos. When I show them a shingle, they don't know a shingle from a hole in the ground. Like it's a shingle, right? So I want to explain, hey, Mr. Homeowner, before I show you these photos, I want to explain what hail damage is, or wind damage or hurricane damage, why it's covered by the insurance company, and why people just like you decide to take action on it. Now, here's what I'm looking for when I'm looking for whatever kind of damage it is you're inspecting. Does all this make sense? And then they say, yeah, it does. Any questions before we go over your roof? No. All right, great. And then I can say, hey, where's a good spot for us to sit down out of the sun to review these photos? Boom, there's your invitation into the house. Real subtle thing, but you do not want to be going through that stuff standing in their driveway. I promise you, people will invite you into the home. So once you're invited into the home, now you go through the photos. And only then, so again, I'm not a big fan of disconnecting. To me, I did that on the roof. I got my bearings right on the roof, and I'd take as much time as I needed up there. I'd get on the phone if I needed to, right? But either way, if you need a break and that's going to help your confidence, go take a break. Tell them you're just getting your stuff organized. Who cares if that's what you need to do? And then at the kitchen table, what I teach on the presentation, number one item before I go through anything else is overcoming the deductible objection, period. I tell them you can choose anyone. And then I'll go into the presentation and the rest from there. But I don't want to keep going. I get too excited about this stuff, man.
Well, I'm looking. There's two things I'm writing notes about here. The compliment portion of what you said. Okay.
Yeah.
The compliment has to be genuine.
Yes.
Don't bullshit your compliment, because people will see right through that. I mean, it's like if you walk up to a girl and you say your shoes look great and their shoes look like crap and they're all scuffed up. It's like, well, thanks a lot, asshole. I know what you're going after.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just, you got to be genuine. Like you said, find the thing that they take pride in. If they're talking to you about, they can't wait for Sunday football tomorrow for their team, I don't know. If you don't know anything about it, at least act like you're interested in it and pay them a compliment of some kind, but make sure it's genuine.
Agree with that entirely.
And then, one thing you said that I really liked here, because I think this may sound simple, maybe it's self-explanatory, but I want to dive into it. You showed them, you explain first, pictures after.
Yes, always.
Explain first, pictures after. Mistake that I see people make who are in sales is they want to go, here, look at my pictures right here. Let me show you what's going on, okay? And in the meantime, the person's just staring at the pictures. They're not listening to what you say. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. And there's no context. I remember vividly the first roof that I got on, I was like, why are they replacing this? What's wrong with this roof? Oh, it's because this little thing here, right? Oh, look a little closer. You see how the granules are a little loose? Okay, they're missing. What? And if you show a homeowner, and especially we all point, because you don't want to, I know some companies teach markup roofs, adjusters often don't like it, so I've generally avoided it. You'll point your finger like, oh, look at the shingle. And they're like, I don't understand what I'm looking at. People don't even know what a shingle is. They just see a roof. They don't understand what they look like, how they're manufactured or anything. So I explain, I'll bring in a sample board. I'll create, so they can see, touch, and feel. So, hey, see when hail impacts or when wind happens, you see this crease for wind, right? Or with hail, it'll impact. See on the back, it comes through, it kind of bruises and the granules loosen up. So it doesn't look like much to the naked eye. And the difference is, you mentioned cars. I always use car analogies because every homeowner we serve will have a car. Okay, maybe 1 in a million, hold a gun to my head. Everyone's going to have a car. And I can say, hey, if it hailed on your car, would we all agree that a dent is a dent is a dent? And they'd say, yeah. I say, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that with your roof. So I always will show soft metal damage first to be like, hail was here or wind was here, right? Show the obvious things. Then I can move into the subtleties. So it's framing it so they know what they're looking for, because a close up of your finger pointing at a black spot means nothing to a homeowner, and it doesn't look severe. There's no emotion behind it. And they're like, but it's not leaking. I mean, we know the objection, but my roof is fine. I don't have any problems with it. We're okay. So we want to overcome that in advance by providing the right context.
So I want to know your opinion about when it comes to context. I've always been strong on developing, as you say, connect as being the first portion, right? You've got to connect with the homeowner. Yep. I've always looked at connection as possibly being something where you've got to build an emotional attachment.
Yep.
And I thought that when I was selling, for roofs, what I would do is I would keep some shingles in my car that did have granulation, that did have hail damage. And I would actually bring those in and say, listen, I know you can't see. I want to show you here. Feel this. Do you feel what's, and I would make it real for them.
Yep. Totally agree.
Because if you don't, you can do, every company that's worth a damn will give you shingles or tile or metal that you can show your homeowner and make it real for them and say this. If you're new in the industry, the advice I would give is get a story behind that. This right here was a shingle from Amy Jones' house. And this right here is exactly what you have right now on top of your roof. You've got some denting and some damage here. On her house, just like yours, there may not have been damage that you can see, but that water damage may be coming in, and that's what could hurt you over time. I want you to really see and understand what I'm trying to do up there.
Yep.
What do you think about
them. Oh, I love the idea. And I anytime you can engage all of the senses in a sale, it will elevate the experience. It's the same reason when I go to Bed Bath & Beyond and all the little blankets are going to have and pillows are going to have a sample to touch. They want you to touch it. They want you to feel it. So you go into a department store and there's smells everywhere. When we can engage all the senses, it's going to make it a more tactile experience. So yes, bring damaged shingles. If you don't, go to your supply house. They're free. Grab a sample board, bring it in, say, this is a normal shingle, just like what's on your roof. What happens with hail? And you can manufacture it. Now, don't manufacture hail on any roof. This is for educational purposes only on the sample board so they understand what it is. Like, hey, so if hail strikes this, if wind comes, it lifts. Okay, the steel strip's going to get debris under it. It won't seal again. So even though it may not be a major issue now, it will be later or could be later. Here, this creasing represents wind damage. So that way they can, put it in their hands. And same thing when you get down to color selection, same idea, but totally love it. Involving that customer is a really important piece, and it will make you shine. I have people all the time who use my strategies to sell, and they'll email say, Adam, I won the business and the customer told me it's because I took the time to explain everything for them. Yep. And that's the difference of, spending the extra 2 minutes when you know you're going to close the deal versus trying to rush it. And the homeowner is going to sense that, and then they're going to not sign with you and you're out of luck.
So I have two more topics I want to talk to you about. Okay. First, I want to talk to you about some service after the sale as a sales rep standpoint. And then I'll dive into a little bit about what we do. And I'd love to know from a roofing strategist standpoint, what your thoughts are. Okay.
Sure.
So the first thing is service after the sale. Everybody thinks about, or at least sales reps, I need to close the deal. I need to ink the deal, production. There's all this different stuff that's running through their head.
Yeah.
But I think as sales reps, there's this thought that I don't want to go back out to the house. I closed my deal. Let me hold on to the deal right now and not go back out there. What are your thoughts on, do you see that a lot in the field? How do you get over that? Okay, going back out there, getting your referrals, getting your reviews, the things that maybe a lot of sales reps are missing out on.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question before I answer this. Out of curiosity, how many sales opportunities do you think are present from one customer? So you sign the deal. Now it's time to process the deal, exactly where you're at. How many sales opportunities are there through that customer? What would you guess?
I'd say 3 to 5.
Okay. In my system, I've found 25 sales opportunities from a customer. This is the backbone. Companies come to me for the exact reason that you are. They want control. They want consistency. Sales reps want a proven path to follow to get to their income goal. That's why they got in the industry. And there's a massive failure in the mental approach of this, in my opinion, where people are like, I signed the deal. I don't want to go back, just like you said. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go cold door knock. I hate cold door knocking. Most people do. It's why people churn. So there's 2 reasons, and I'm going to answer this directly in a second, but it's important to have the point. Then I'll quantify these 25 sales opportunities. When we knock cold, the customer, they're seeing the logo, or where am I? Here we go. They're seeing the logo. They're looking at you, and they say in their head, Who the heck is this? Who are you? There's inherent distrust. It's an interruption. When we go back in that same neighborhood by taking advantage of all 25 of those sales opportunities, what happens is the friendship formula, which Jack Schaefer, who's an FBI agent, he talks about in his book, the like switch. Okay. I only recently learned about this after I'm like, well, this is why it works. Proximity, frequency, duration, and intensity. Those are the 4 elements. When people see you over and over in the same neighborhood, when you knock on that door, you are no longer cold door knocking. All of a sudden, they see you. They've seen your yard signs. They've seen your letters you leave at the door if you're using my approach. They've seen your letters in the mail. They've seen you talking to customers. They've seen you up on roofs. Now it says, oh, you look familiar. There's inherently a wall of the wall of distrust is broken, and now they're receptive because the friendship formula is working. They recognize you. Frequency, duration, intensity, right? So to go back to the processing side, when you actually look at that customer as you're into the neighborhood, you will turn 1 sale into 10 in the neighborhood. There's 5 stages of the sale. Okay. New customer, you sign the deal. Okay. Most sales reps, by the way, out of these 25, take advantage of 2. They'll show up on install day, maybe, and they'll maybe ask for a referral. So new customer, job scheduled. Most people don't do anything when the job's scheduled. Well, why would you? It's just the job being scheduled. No, it's a sales opportunity. Then day of install complete, paid in full. Those are the 5. When we pair the sales activities, and I haven't broken down into checklists, what do? Right? You follow the checklist. Number 1, every homeowner has an insurance agent. Why would you not introduce yourself to them? Simple. 1 step, right? Using email, welcome email to the customer. Value, here's what's next. By the way, welcome to our referral program. Automatic referral is sent. Leaving a cheat sheet referral, asking them, canvassing the neighborhood using the SLAP formula. Say hi, break the ice. Let them know why you're there and make it really familiar. Ask an open-ended question. That's a big thing that I think is different in my approach is you start a conversation. For Storm, how has the insurance process been for you? Question 1. Where are you at in the process? Number 2. Number 3, what did the insurance company say when they came out? And it doesn't matter what they answer because that's going to indicate which of the 4 stages of the sale they were in. What are you talking about? No claim. Oh, our insurance was out and they just said a repair. Now I know how to present. So we customize it. And again, when we work this system, when we're knocking doors, leaving letters, sending letters in the mail, showing back up again when the job's scheduled, because not everyone's going to be home on the day of install, all of a sudden you have a better customer experience. They see that you care. You get more reviews. Promise you'll get more referrals. You'll take over the neighborhood. And those 5 to 9 visits to the home, 5 is the best case scenario. 9 is towards the worst case scenario. You're leveraging your time. So production increases. So if you're one of those people that's like avoid at all cost, I'm telling you, you are costing yourself money. And I handled all of our legal stuff, all of our hiccups, all of our customer complaints. To me, I was afraid at first. Then everything I could do, I did quality inspections, found we hired a new crew, had issues. I got up on the roof, said, Mr. Homeowner, I got bad news for you. Crew messed up. Good news is we're going to fix it. And when you just take the bull by the horns and you take care of that stuff, all those little nightmares that keep you up at night of, oh man, the homeowner called me upset because the screen ripped, there's tar on the driveway, tar on the siding, whatever else, life gets easier. You have more fun. You're not cold door knocking. You're more efficient with your time. And it's 23 more sales opportunities that you otherwise would have left sitting on the table. And your competitor is going to come in and swoop it up. And nothing's worse than seeing your house get cornered by other yard signs that ain't yours, because that should have been your meal to eat, so to speak.
So you go back out to the house because you're either 1, you're afraid personally of how you might look, or 2, it's professionally. In other words, it doesn't have to do with you and how you like rejection. Maybe you don't feel empowered by your company.
Yeah.
So I think there's one of the yin and a yang of why people don't go back out there. They don't feel empowered by their company or don't feel confident in the product their company is putting up there. Or on this side, it's them personally, and they feel like, okay, I overpromised on something. I don't feel confident. I want to kind of just shrink and move away. I got my deal done. And I just want to hold on to that deal. And so I think there's 2 sides of that story. And that's just how I've always looked at it.
There is. And I hate to say this, but it's truth. There's 3 elements to succeed in this industry: who you are as a human, the strategy and sales activities you do, and the company that's backing you. And if any 3 of those legs is broken, you're not going to succeed. If you can't show back up to your customers because you're not confident the company is going to back you, I would encourage you to fix one of those legs. If you don't have the right sales strategy in place, go find it. If you're not the right person, you either need to leave this industry right now and cut your losses before you're in too deep, or embrace the challenge, realize sales is personal development, and dive into the personal growth. Because I mean, so anyway, yes, you need all three of those, and none of them should be an excuse or are excusable. And it's okay if you're there right now. Just know there is an answer. Get all three elements, you'll succeed.
So, and the last question I want to dive into with you, Adam, because I think that's great stuff, man. The three legs right there. When you're out there, man, and you're working with these individuals, we started My Claims Care because we wanted to offer capital through insurance claims. We wanted to turn insurance into retail for roofing contractors.
Sure.
Do you find that you see contractors out there that are chasing down money from insurance claims, and maybe that AR is holding them back from continued growth? I want to know what you see out there in the field as you're working with these companies.
Absolutely. What the number one threat to this industry for both companies and sales reps is cash flow, period. So cash needs to be flowing quick. And when I was running my team, my number one customer, it was my sales reps. And I think all sales leaders need to realize sales reps are number one. They are the oil to the machine. Without that, nothing else is going to run smoothly. And of course, that didn't discount the level of customer service. My point is, we have to look at our salespeople as customers, and they are the ones that are feeding us. They need to be paid regularly. They can go anywhere else. And if you're not paying them, I guarantee you, because of my position, I work with individual reps and companies. I probably chat with more individual reps than majority of people. I'm not saying all, but majority, because it's my it's who I serve. And that's the number one thing. I'm held up on pay. I need money. It's been 8 weeks. I got these deals. Is it normal for it to take this long? These guys and gals need to get paid. And at the end of the day, I know as a company, you need that cash flow to pay receivables, to pay material bills, to pay labor bills, to pay your team, to keep the lights on. And there's no excuse. It is your responsibility as a business owner to have healthy cash flow so you can feed everybody else. And yes, I do agree in profit first. You got to pay yourself. But you also need to take care of people, because if you don't, they're gone. So healthy cash flow, if it means, and I just had a comment that I responded to directly before this interview saying, I'm a new rep. Is it normal to get paid out when the job's done and paid in full? And it is. But if that changes, the people that want reps around it, I look at roofing sales like a drug. The people who get addicted to this industry, they get their first hit, and the hit is to their bank account. And it's looking there and it's like, I got that for just doing that. What the heck? I am in it. And we need to get that hit in their bank account as fast as possible so they can get paid, so they believe in it. And it's not just the rep. It's his or her spouse, significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend. If they're not seeing the traction, then they have the doubt at home. That doubt kills confidence. And that is usually the seed that is planted of why people leave. So the long-winded answer is cash is king. Get cash flow under control. You guys are providing a fantastic solution to help people move things along more quickly. And at the end of the day, it's going to help you be financially healthier, more stable. It's the number one reason, as you know, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir, why companies go out of business in the first 5 years. And your sales reps are going to stick around. The faster you get those reps paid, the more they're going to produce because they believe in you.
And that's exactly what we created from the sales side, because reps got tired of waiting on their money. Because if you're doing insurance, not doing cash, but if you're doing insurance, it could take that 8-week time to get paid. In the meantime, the sales rep is becoming, they're becoming kind of, anxiety is rising, and they've got their boyfriend or girlfriend down their back about, when I told you this wasn't the right industry for you and now you're not getting paid for it. That's a tough place to be in. So with My Claims Care, what we aim to do is say, hey, listen, let's turn that insurance into retail, get you paid right away for your work, so you're not having to wait 8 weeks. And from a business owner standpoint, let's make sure that you're not having to chase your tail when it comes to AR. There is nothing worse, and you've been there, having to chase down money that you've already earned. I mean, It must be the only industry where we do that. And so for us, we just kind of felt like the industry was broken. So trying to, of course, let people know there's a solution out there for that cash flow problem. Yeah,
love it. It's awesome. People need it.
Well, I want to tell you what, man, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. You really know your stuff. I can't say it enough, folks. If you are struggling with sales, this man has formulas that you can look at, you can apply, you can use every single day to make yourself a better sales rep. He has the formulas to make your crew better, to make your production more efficient, to make your company more efficient. If you're not calling him and you're not scaling your business right now, you are making a huge mistake just based off the free value that we've given today. So, where can people reach you? How do they reach out to you? What's the process to get involved?
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you for the kind words. And just a slight correction. I don't touch the production and operation side, sales and marketing. No, it's all good, but you're dead right. You know, I provide for teams what I call the roofing sales success formula. Everything you need from lead generating marketing material, boots to the ground, start using it right away. A sales strategy for every individual rep built around their income goal, step-by-step instructions to take advantage of all 25 sales opportunities, and then how to run that sales appointment using the car park formula, along with a few other things to help grow a team and scale and incentive plans, pay plans, all that. So for owners, email me, adam@roofstrategist.com, or you can jump on YouTube podcast. And then for any individual reps, I have programs available and affordable. You'll make all your money back with every single thing I have to offer. On your first sale, you'll make 100% of your money back and a profit. And I stand behind everything I do with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you have questions, email me. I'll chat with you. Adam@roofstrategist.com. And Patrick, thanks for having me here.
Man, you're the man. I'm going to tell you what. I mean, you've got some real stuff down. You can tell that you get the industry, man. You have the knowledge. And that's something very rare. There's a lot of gurus out there, man, that I've met that don't have the knowledge that you do, brother. I mean, you got to keep on putting out that content. My claims care clients, if you're looking to help scale and grow that team, right? This is a man you need to speak with. Adam@roofstrategist.com. Get in touch with this guy and grow your business. Adam, I really appreciate it, buddy.
Patrick, thanks for having me. Super appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, man. Talk soon.